this has potential to be one of the best units in the NFL, like a top 5 group by the end of the season. And they didn't get off to the start that I necessarily anticipated, but now that Aleem McNeil's back, you saw that impact immediately. Even though he only has 1 tackle that shows up on the box score, also has a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage, Hutchinson has 11 pressures. Muhammad has 9 pressures. Like, that to me is Aleem McNeil coming in, drawing double teams, drawing a ton of attention, and freeing up the guys that are surrounding him, and that's with a backup secondary. I feel like our prediction of this maybe being a top 5 unit and one of the best in the NFL wasn't necessarily wrong. We were just a little early to the camp. And I'd rather be early than late.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I think it's I think we've seen a couple of examples of both sides of this, right? Like yesterday was a game that we can point to the defense as being the stalwart of what won that game. I full well did not expect that game to be as far under. I know you two were talking yesterday that like you were smashing overs in that game, right?
Yes. I thought this was going to be a shootout.
And what prevented that shootout was specifically the Lions' defense. I don't think you can even really point to Tampa Bay's injuries on offense as being the reason why. I know Egbuka was like, obviously, he was not 100%. He did not have the target share that he typically would in this game. Mike Evans goes out early. Still no Chris Godwin. Still no Bucky Irving. Injuries on their offensive line. All that being said, like they've had injuries the last couple of weeks and have been one of the top passing offenses in football. Your secondary's depleted. Yesterday, to me, and I don't want to like fall into this trap of saying, well, the defense is certainly better than the offense. I still think it's a team built on the offense. I think there are more blue chippers on the offense. I think we've seen now for a year and a half that the offense stays more healthy, which I don't think is a trend that should just be looked over. Like that's something about this defense, that they're not healthy consistently. You hope they are post-bye and into the postseason, because we saw how it affected them last year, but I still think it's a team built on the offense.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of debates with this with some of my buddies on some text threads of like, why is it that this Lions defense can't stay healthy? Is it the personnel? Is it the scheme? Is it how physical they play? And I think it's probably a combination of a bunch of those things.
I mean, you've brought up their practice habits though, right?
It's just how aggressive they are.
Yeah.
Here and there. I will say, like, I'd like to dismiss anyone who thinks it's the trainers. Like, that to me is ludicrous.
Yep.
I think if anything, it's how physical they play on defense and how much they ask of their secondary specifically, because that seems to be the unit that's always banged up, of all this man coverage. It's just a lot of wear and tear on the body compared to a Vic Fangio system where it's like, hey, just don't let anything deep, keep everything in front of you. I think they just physically ask a lot of their guys, and you throw that into consideration with how aggressive they are in the run game and how physically active they are, and how aggressive they are. I think you're just bound to have a couple more injuries. But now I'm looking at it, and you mentioned the blue chippers. Jack Campbell is like officially a blue chipper to me.
Yeah.
Obviously goes without saying Hutchinson is. Both the safeties are. And, I know it's one game, but 45 snaps last night for Aleem McNeil. He looked like a blue chip player out there too. I know he doesn't fill up the box score, but you see the impact that he has out there. This defense is like very close to the offense to me now.
Do we have the PFF grades from last night yet?
They're not official. They haven't come out yet.
Okay.
But the unofficial one is 11 pressures for Aiden Hutchinson, if that's what you were wondering.
I was like thinking of scores for Aleem McNeil and just
let me double check that they're not out yet. But you see it really early on in that game of how dominant, he just bull rushes some of these guys, and it's like they collapse the pocket. Baker Mayfield doesn't even attempt to rush the ball once yesterday after kind of just being dominant. Oh, the grades are out. They're not as great as I thought they'd be, honestly. Aleem McNeil is a 59.7 PFF grade, which is mediocre at best. But
yeah.
I don't know, man. He passed the eye test. This is one of those things where it's like, I don't really care what the PFF grade says. 5 pressures, you'll take that from the interior spot every day. It's him drawing the double teams that's so big to me.
Yes, it's the real estate that he consumes in my mind. He was noticeable on the television screen last night, I think, is at the bare minimum for a guy returning from the injury that he had.
Specifically early.
Yes, yeah. And noticeable because you were kind of watching for him, but noticeable in a way that he was taking up space as he should. He was getting by initial lines, meaning like it felt like he was in the backfield a little bit, which is not really an expectation for a nose the way he plays. So, yeah, I like it.
It started to be a little bit of an expectation before he got hurt last year, though, with how much he was pressuring the quarterback. He's like a little dancing grizzly bear in that way. And the thing that I was texting some people with last night that was like, hey, imagine like against Philly when everyone's healthy, or a goal line package of Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, like you can throw in Tyleek Williams, like those three guys all in the middle, and then an Aiden Hutchinson, a Davenport when he's healthy, and then you can throw 4 linebackers out there in Campbell, Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez once he comes back, and then a Derek Barnes as well. Like all of a sudden the Lions are maybe more well equipped to stop that tush push or that Philly, rushing attack in general on a goal line look more than anybody in the NFL with how many guys they have up front. Because now Tyleek Williams is almost like, I don't even know. He's like an extra little guy to have that's rotating in and can probably maximize his snaps. Not that he's been bad at all. He's been awesome for what they've asked him to do. But now that McNeil's back and Tyleek Williams is almost like a little cherry on top of a guy that can come in and you can get DJ Reader's snap count a little bit lower just because of his age and size. I think this defensive line is just as good as any unit in the NFL.
Well, when it was all pulled in together like this, and you saw the personnel, obviously the Aleem injury last year was the question mark that prevented it from being at full strength. But yeah, I mean, when's the last time you guys brought up, well, who's rushing opposite of Hutch?
Does it matter?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You remember when that was the biggest question leading into the season, when that kept us up at night, when that led shows?
I'll remember.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Because you have Aleem McNeil.
Well, and in particular, the rest of the defense is stronger than we thought. You need a secondary, a rusher opposite of Hutch when you feel like the secondary might be a little suspect. You need to get there a little quicker because your corners are not great. And they've stood on their heads so far. I look at the schedule so far and think, what side of the football has won more games right now? I think the Chicago game was clearly evident that the offense was a better unit. The Baltimore win was a shootout. Cleveland's one of the best defenses in football. You hang 34 on them. Cincinnati, bit of a shootout, 37 in that game. The offense has done better other than the recency bias of yesterday in that the defense had maybe one of their best performances in the Dan Campbell era in terms of what was at stake, right? All the second unit players, return of Aleem McNeil, MVP candidate on the other side, home Monday Night Football game going into the bye, and the defense was the unit.
I might push back on the Ravens game because they did a really good job against Lamar, and it's impossible to shut him down anyway. But yeah, defense kind of thriving right now. Ben Bosscher Show live right